that came the ulu tree. So he fed his people and his family that way. So when you've seen these things in the gift stores and things, the tiki they call it sometimes, well that's ku. And if you went to see Star Wars, all the young people know that ku is the force of the universe. That's the force. And of course Joseph Campbell that wrote Star Wars was married to a Hawaiian woman, so he gets into that, and he also talks about Leia. So Leia, Princess Leia, is Ku's wife. And she, some of us, when we went to Sunday school, they say, well, she's the same thing as Martha in the Bible. She's the helper. And she's the goddess of woodworkers, canoe builders, and navigators. And she's the forest. And she morphs herself into an Eli pile, because, in the Hawaiian mythology, you have a plant form, you have a human form, you have a spiritual form, you have an animal form, and a fish form. And in Ku's case, you can even cross gender. And so he's also married to Hina, who sometimes is the same person in the form of a fish. That's the Hinalea, the wassail. And if you guys, young people, know from biology class that fish can change itself from a female to a male if there are too many, and can change back, and I think it can even propagate itself in a pinch. So that's the Hinalea, and Ku is married to Hina, goddess of the moon, and Mary in the Bible, and he's also married to Leia, the sister. The sugarcane comes out of Papua New Guinea. 5,000 years ago, it's cultivated there, and it spreads all over the world. And some of it gets into the canoe, and it comes into Hawaii as a canoe plant. Once it got here, they propagated it into 50 different varieties that Amy Greenwell Garden has in its collection. So they didn't bring 50 varieties; they propagated them once they got here. The Hawaiians felt that each one of these were medicinal. So same idea, the French and the wine. I think they think wine's medicinal. And the Hawaiians had a very sophisticated palate and an innate ability to propagate, and I don't know if it was GMO, but pretty close. They could manipulate species. And so over here you can see some of the varieties. One of the fun ones is they have one of them over there. You can see it says Hapai on it. You can see it, and that one's for romance. And then they have another one. And they also have its counterpart. So if you want to stop the romance, you can eat that one. So the other thing, different families had different varieties, and they would use it to take as a gift, or it was their family variety. So when you propagate stuff, oddballs come out. I think they saved those and named them. This book over here talks about the 50 varieties, and all the Hawaiian plants have a counterpart in the ocean. So in this book, it shows the picture of the sugarcane and its fish counterpart in the ocean. So Noah Kekuewa Lincoln used to work at the botanical garden, still there now, but he's an ethnobotanist at Stanford University, and he's written this book here. And so I'm just the sales side of things, and I'm just repeating what they teach me. So I'm holding in front of you, some of the different varieties of the sugarcane and their name, but they're very pretty. They're ornamental, they're medicinal, and then they had a sophisticated enough palate. Unlike, Big Gulp or something, they could taste the different kinds of sugar. So, well, they had Ava. So that would have been the king chewed on that stuff. And he had a spittoon and lots of salt and something to bite on because it's bitter. Can't remember what he bites, but there's somebody, his retainer is always carrying the spittoon around, and the thing, like when you drink a shot and then you bite the line. Yeah, it's that kind of an idea. When the Europeans got here, and also, you know, the Chinese come first, they come in 1789, and they come in here and get in the sandalwood trade, and they're the ones that know how to, they're the sugar masters, they know how to refine sugar. It's a deep secret, and they keep it dearly for a while. When James Honeywell went out to, he brought the missionary packet here, he goes with his furs out to China, and he picks up a sugar master there and he brings them back to Hilo, and that person marries Kuakini, you know, the one that built the Hula Palace, marries one of his daughters or his sister's daughter or something like that, and of course they start the modern sugar industry here. But the Europeans knew that this was the place to do this because they needed, there are lots of other places you could propagate the sugar, but there wasn't anybody else that was as capable as these people to do it, so they needed the know-how, and that's why they chose to come here. And then of course most of the sugar, you know, Princess Ruth, the governor of this island, she's the wealthiest person in the kingdom. She leaves her wealth to come in school, and of course they're heavily involved in the sugar situation. That's why they moved the government from Kona to Hilo, because, you know, the wealth is now being generated over there, so they moved the capital to Hilo, where it still is. Go on. If you're ever interested in looking at this, we replanted it at the Amy Greenwood Garden, and we really would love to see all of you. It's a marvelous garden. It's part of the Bishop Museum, and I would urge you all to come. There are lots of things for young people to see. It's a 7-acre garden up here. And also, I urge you all to go to the Bishop Museum if you get a chance and see the coup exhibit. And I'm not sure, I'm sure I said this, but I'm repeating it. Coup is always carved with the wood from the ulu tree.
So the ulu, this is the ulu tree.
And here's the... So in the Pacific cultures, this is the bread of life. And the coconut, of course, is the water of Kani, the water of life.
Okay, is there any questions? Robin, he reads and reads and reads. He's like a walking dictionary of the culture. For the reason he looked, he went to each day school. This is a different variety of sugar. Well, you know me. Okay, so now we have, okay, are you ready to have a dance lesson? So after you eat all this